Hey, this is Maurine Kwende, your podcast host, and you are listening to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. It's a podcast to empower you with nuggets on learning and development, training, leadership, coaching, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. I am a learning leader, researcher, speaker, coach, consultant, and author of the book Dream Big and Live Your Dreams Boldly. I'm also the CEO and founder of EMK Learning Solutions LLC. I've had the honor to equip instructional designers, trainers to become better leaders. So this week is exciting to be back on the show. And before I get started, I want to take a moment to say thank you so much for being a fan of this podcast. You take the time every week to listen to, and this keeps us going. So thank you so much. Thank you. Now, the focus of today's episode is on leading remote teams effectively. We all know about the Great Resignation and how, since the COVID, many people prefer to work from home than go to the office 24/7. And as a result, many employers have responded well by making adjustments to this. And so employees can now work from home permanently or have some sort of hybrid situation. Remote work is really here to stay. I believe so, and it brings its own set of challenges and as well as opportunities. And as a leader, how do you manage your remote teams effectively? Do you care? As a leader, leading a team of remote employees, if anyone was to ask you why you're leading, and if you really care to lead your team, I'm hoping that you really care. Because when you care to lead employees, even in hybrid situations or in remote situations, this means you put them first and do all you need to do to help them in their personal and professional growth. So the question is, do your employees trust you? Can they trust you? Quite frankly, many leaders want employees to not work from home because of micromanagement. Yes, I said it. And the issue is trust, because they assume that the employees aren't, productive from home. They're just playing around. They're not serious with their work. And it's easy to assume that they're not working or sticking to the task that you've delegated as a leader. But this mindset isn't helping, as it can quickly develop into micromanaging behavior where leaders, bombard remote workers with communication, constantly asking them what's the progress report, are you doing this, what are you doing? I'm hoping that no one's even showing up in people's homes to figure out what they're doing. So as a leader, care to lead your team such that you can trust them to do the work and you can earn their trust as well. That's why you hired them. Trust them to do their work. Care enough to meet the employees on a one-on-one, weekly, bi-weekly, basis via Zoom, WebEx, or any video technology where you can actually still see them and connect with them. Remember that even though it's okay not to micromanage employees, at the same time, some employees may not have the self-discipline for remote work, and it's critical for you to recognize this behavior and help them so it doesn't affect their individual personal growth as well as professional growth and their performance to even spill over to negatively hurt the team's productivity. So I encourage leaders to do their best to hold on one-on-one meetings. At the same time, every week or even on a bi-weekly basis, should be consistent. Give each employee at least half an hour of undivided attention. And if you feel that they need more time, you can increase the time to maybe to an hour. During that time, get to really connect with them. Provide feedback to their work, discuss their concerns, ask them how it's going working from home, share ideas and find out ways that you can support them. Before you get into the weeds during these one-on-one meetings, it's important to build rapport with the employees. Take time to genuinely ask what's going on in their lives. Remember that employees show up as a whole person. So it's important to know if they're doing well, with their family, their health. As a leader, you can ask about the employees' weekend. Did they have a good weekend? Ask about their family. Are they married? About their children? Inquire about their plans. upcoming holidays. All of this help them feel more comfortable with you, and it actually develop a personal connection. Try to build rapport with your employees as a leader. Research informs us that when employees feel connected and have a good rapport with their leaders, they are even more engaged and more motivated to do great work. So I challenge you as a leader to care to lead. We've talked about trust. We've talked about, giving them the support that they need on one-on-one basis. We've talked about having that rapport, building connection with them such that, they can feel comfortable to work and feel connected and have a good relationship with you, and which of course leads to more engagement and motivation. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is about being a role model. Yes. As a leader, be a role model. Employees look up to you as an example, of how to work, how to look at, the work ethic, how to look at the culture and everything. They look up to you. That's why you are their leader. So, for example, let them know how often you want them to check in, whether you'd like them to touch base before the end of their day. Setting clear expectations as well is one thing. Ask the employees to feel free. Tell them, every update that's going on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Help them to connect with you during your weekly meetings, by letting them know what you want from them upfront. You can make sure that you're synchronized. Going back to being a role model, I still challenge you to be a role model. I have had the opportunity to work with some leaders who would actually tell you to do this, do that. They show up to work late, either don't do any work, and then expect the opposite from their employees. Not going to happen. I challenge you to be a good example. Be a good example. Be a role model. Lastly, you want to be able to reward your employees. Those who are doing great job, recognize their hard work. Maybe give them a raise, a paid vacation. Give them a day off if to celebrate their birthdays. Recognize all the work they're putting in for the success of your team. They work hard and should be recognized. Sometime in my career, I recall a leader who took credit for people's work. She would go get a raise instead of giving the raise to the employee. What a toxic environment it was. Don't be that kind of a leader. Reward your employees. Care to lead them. Care about their success. That should be your priority. My mentor, John Maxwell, always says that the moment you stop caring for those you lead, you might as well stop leading them. So care to lead your teams effectively. One bonus tip I want to share is also for you to always go above and beyond to empower your employees. Empower your teams working remotely or, in the office. Empower them. Affirm them. Right? Because they need also that confidence in the workplace. And that has a lot to do with how you lead them. So are you making them less confident? Are you making them to be confident as future leaders? Because you're wanting to leave a legacy, right? What do you want to be remembered for when you're gone? Right? You want people to remember you as the leader that was able to empower them, to equip them, to give them all the tools they needed to become better leaders of tomorrow. So I want to challenge you to care enough to lead your teams effectively. And once they do, you would even be more of a successful leader. Leadership is not about titles, it's not about rank, it's not about a position. It's about service. It's about putting yourself forward, serving those people so well that you can be a good example, and so then they can pay it forward. So that's it. We've come to the end of this week's podcast. I always wrap up this podcast with a challenging question, to empower you to do your best. So what can you do as a leader to show to your employees that you care? I believe that it's in you. You can do it. Show your employees that you care and be a better leader. So, to our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning into this wonderful episode. Be safe, be well, and I will see you next week, same time.